Yo, we hit the $4,000 bag yesterday. We went 5 for 5 on this PrizePicks flex play, turning 400 into 4 grand. So hopefully some of you were able to tail this. I gave it out on Twitter. But anyways, let's get into some of the picks I have for today. So again, on PrizePicks, you always want to be placing 5 and 6 pick flexes. These are mathematically optimal. A lot of people, they're like, wow, this is so degenerate. You're giving out 5 and 6 pick flex plays. Like, those are so much less likely to hit. But if you literally just go through the math of the payouts, right? If you go through, so here's one of the first ones we have. If you go through the math of how PrizePicks is paying out, these are optimal, right? It's nearly impossible to make money if you're playing 2-pick or you're playing 3-pick entries, because you are literally getting double the VIG, right? For 2-pick entries, you're getting minus 137 odds. And for 6-pick entries, you're getting minus 118. So when you're looking on OddsGym, you're going to see two different prices on PrizePicks for their lines. Minus 137, that's a 2-pick power play. Never play those. You're getting minus 119 in a 5 or a 6 flex. It's really hard to find value in the market if you're playing at minus 137. That's why nobody playing 2-pick power plays or giving them out is winning, right? But anyways, there are two main tools I use to find my plays on PrizePicks. So the first one is this. This is called the OddsGym screen. And what it essentially shows you is, for any market, for any sport, so you don't just have to look at assists or you don't just have to look at player props, but it just shows you the books, their odds, right? And you can filter for specific sports books here, but the books, the odds, right? And where their line is set. So what's interesting is you may notice here, well, this play's on underdog, but just as an example, this play looks really good on underdog. Devin Vassell, his line is 3.5 on PrizePicks and all the sports books, right? You literally have dozens of data points telling you his line should be set at 3.5. Underdog is just casually at 4, right? This is a market inefficiency. Underdog is too high, so we want to take the under. Sportsbooks have the over 3.5. Right, but there's not a ton of juice. Like FanDuel's only at minus 122. Pinnacle is only at minus 128. So this OddsJam column is the same as Pinnacle Sportsbook. So they're just around, minus 125. Some books are around minus 130. So there's not a ton of juice towards the over. So this is a big deal, right? Underdog at 4. Every other book at 3.5. PrizePicks, their direct competitor, right? PrizePicks and Underdog working basically the exact same way, is at 3.5. So Underdog is too high. Right? We want to take the under. Underdog is too high. We want to take the under. All books are at 3.5. Underdog's at 4. We want to take the under. Right? It's literally like underdog is right or everybody else is wrong. And it's pretty clear that, underdog's the side here. Right? So you're just using real-time market data, price data, to find inefficiencies in the market and take advantage of them. So the next tool I obviously use very frequently is the positive EV tool. I probably spend 80% of my time on this tool. And what this tool does is it literally just goes to PrizePicks and it scans all of these lines, right? So it pulls in all of these lines and it either puts a minus 137, it puts a minus 137 and a minus 119 to them. So it's doing the same thing for DraftKings, right? You think about DraftKings, all these freaking odds they have on their site, OddsJam is constantly pulling those in, updating them in real time to show you where there's value in the market. Right, so out of the tens of thousands of odds on PrizePicks or whatever sports books you're filtering for, so you can see there's also some plays on, Underdog Fantasy, whatever books you end up filtering for, it's just going to show you, hey, on PrizePicks you can get Porzingis over 21.5 points. That seems like pretty damn good value considering all books are pricing it around minus 145. Right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, this OddsJam column we just copy Pinnacle, so these are always the same. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sports books all telling us this line should be set around, minus 145. We're getting minus 119 in a flex, right? So you don't want to play this in a 2-pick power play because then you're basically just getting the same odds as Caesars and a lot of the value goes away. You're getting minus 137. You want to play it in a 5-pick flex. 1.41% edge. This is your profit margin. Really high profit margin if you think about it on PrizePicks, because if you play 5 picks and they all have a 1.5%, ROI, you're going to have 5 times 1.5 is 7.5. You're going to have a 7.5% ROI, roughly long-term, on your 5 flexes. So literally just following the data. I ripped Porzingis. I ripped Embiid over, right? So they're playing against each other. And honestly, if it's a close game, right, they'll both probably play more minutes. So these probably have some positive correlation. If Porzingis goes over and is in the game longer, Embiid is more likely to go over and be in the game longer. So 1, 2, once again, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 data points, right? Sportsbooks invest hundreds of millions of dollars in their ability to set lines. They're taking bets, constantly moving around their odds due to supply and demand. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sportsbooks all telling us the exact same thing. This line should be minus 140. We're getting minus 119. Clear value, slam it. So 1, 2, 3. We have Oubre over 20.5 points. Michael Porter over. So then you have some college basketball. So we have Porter over, Murray over, Zegras under, right? So again, that's just kind of the top plays in order of profit margin. So not everything's going to be a 1.5% profit margin. And a lot of people are like, oh, if you go ahead and you put in all sports books, you'll see like, okay, if I set max odds to 190, which I typically do, the top most profitable play on OddsGym right now is 2%. So a lot of people are like, oh, that's not a ton, right? 2% profit margin. But what you have to remember is this game is today. So if you earn a 2.2% ROI on your bets, right, that's 60% a month, 2% a day, 30 days in a month, 60% a month. Your bankroll will go from 2,000, to 3,200, up 1.2K, up 60%, right? So that's what's so powerful about sports betting, and what got me really excited about it at first is these returns are daily, right? These returns, the ROI is every day. So 2% a day, 60% a month. And you can see here, like, it's the same concepts that apply to betting on sports books. DraftKings has this minus 110. Pinnacle, one of the sharpest bookmakers in the world, they're pricing this at minus 123. So you can click on the odd to kind of see, the line history chart, which is pretty cool. And we're getting plus 108 on Caesars. Clear value, that's something we want to slam. And again, another thing to mention is you can browse odds for free on OddsGym. So you get millions of odds updating in real time for every major sports book. If you're in a different location, you'll see different books. So if I go ahead and I switch my location, and then we'll get back to some PrizePicks plays. But if I switch my location to Alabama here, it's like, oh, dang, new sports books. What's Betly, right? And you can see, right? Why are we reinventing the wheel? Why are you trying to price where Porzingis' point line should be? You literally have dozens of sports books setting lines, data points, real-time price data points, sportsbook setting prices, telling you where the price should be set, right? It's like having 100 different people tell you what, it's like having 100 different stock exchanges pricing Bitcoin. It's like, okay, you kind of like look at them all and you should know what Bitcoin is priced at. It's the same thing here, right? You have hundreds of books all telling you, hey, Porzingis' line should be about 21.5 to 22.5. Don't reinvent the wheel. So, some other plays I went with, Chris Kreider over 2.5 shots on goal and Chris Letang under 2.5 shots on goal. So these two plays showed up on the EV tool, right? So again, this market's dynamic. It's always moving. Lineup changes, sharp action, betting volume, right? If everyone starts pounding Chris Kreider over 2.5 shots on goal in the sports books, the line will move from maybe, let's say, minus 135-ish to minus 145 to minus 150, right? Lines will move in favor of the over, right? So if all this sharp action comes in saying, no, Chris Kreider should be more favored, minus 150, minus 160, right? And these odds keep getting more juiced and all the sharp actions coming in, sportsbooks are like, oh, Chris Kreider's over 2.5 should be around minus 160 and maybe the under should be plus 120. You're going to see this EV percentage keep getting higher because we're still getting that minus 119 on PrizePicks until PrizePicks eventually adjusts and they may move their line, right? But long story short, let's get into some of the plays I'm on. So 4 different slips. You're going to see a lot of the same picks repeated. So literally just the 5 top plays from the EV tool. Porzingis over 21.5 points, Embiid over 32.5 points, Oubre over 20.5 points, Porter over 4.5 rebounds, Jamal Murray over 2.5 threes. Only difference here is I switched out Zegras under 2.5 shots on goal for Oubre over 20.5 points. And then here, Embiid, Porter, Murray, I kept all their overs, and then Zegras under, Letang under 2.5 shots on goal. And then here I just replaced that with Chris Kreider. So Chris Kreider as opposed to Chris Letang. So a lot of slips, right? Just diversifying a bit, putting out a few more entries, 4 different slips, and let's make some money, guys.